I do not know how much time I'm going to have. Here we go. I got fired for saying nigga. It's true. So, first I want to talk about, before I talk about how I felt about what had happened with the right or the wrong of it, I want to say for number one, I was off the clock. Number two, I was just there to check up on my students because they were being falsely enrolled into correctional programs and being taught weapons and everything like that, and the criminal investigation type stuff without having passed a psych exam. So I was there to make sure that this one particular student did not make it in and did not get tested again, and that her test was not being fraudulent. And so when I was there, I was asked to see a student briefly, but I was not clocked in. And I was sick, because I was sick that day. And I went in, and when he asked me to see the student, I asked him for, a while before that, I asked him for some, if any cold medicine or any Advil, because I was sick. And he gave me a couple pills, and then he came back in about 20 minutes later and told me that I might feel strange. He didn't know what he had given me. He might have given me something else. And by, like, I don't know, a half hour later or so, me and one of the other guys were joking around. We were by the copy room. We were like, stuff with Dave Chappelle was going on. I had been watching a lot of Dave Chappelle, and we were like doing the prison shanks in the hallway, and just joking around a lot. So I was kind of loopy, and I had just found out that one of my friends, who was African American, who I still don't know to this day, who was stealing my identity, but somebody was in fact trying to steal my identity, and I went ahead, sorry, just to make sure that's not the camera lens, and was joking around. I was finding out about this while I was on my computer in my office, and I was like, oh my gosh, how can this be? And I was looking at my credit report, and because I was couldn't figure out what was going on, and somebody ran my credit 111 times in one weekend. And it was in a specific town, and this person had just been to this specific town and worked at a cell phone place and had gotten all my personal information, so that they were going to give me a cell phone, but then I never got the cell phone. So I had a legitimate reason for thinking that this person had done this. And I was really upset, and I was also really loopy, and I had just gotten this email. And so I, went into my friend's office who worked there, who was also African American, and I said, can you believe so-and-so stole my credit? And I said, he's gonna be one dead nigga when I find him. And I had to come down to, like, would I have said that if there was a black girl in the room? And the answer was hell no. I don't think so. So was it right or wrong to say wrong? But, I mean, there's a whole nother thing you can go into with that word. I mean, I had, like, most of my friends were like, Tony, you're so stupid. Of course a black person's going to try and get you fired for that. But black person can't wait for someone to say that. I was like, oh, they're like, you're so stupid. Why'd you tell me? I was like, I don't even say myself, And then I had one friend who was just like, well, that word just wouldn't belong anywhere and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, true that. It doesn't belong anywhere. And I know it means naga and all that stuff like that, but that's not what it means here. It's not what it means now. So, but the real truth of the matter is that there was real racism going on, and I have been trying to bring it to the surface because I am not racist, and there were people in charge that were very racist, and they were saying things like, oh, about this girl named Fallon who had tried to get a job there, and she was, or a student, or I don't even know, but one of the guys had said, Jimmy had said, oh, she's pretty for a black girl, which really pissed me off. And I was just like, oh, that really pissed me off. I was just like, that's wrong. And they had made other racial comments about black people, and it was frustrating to me. And Mexicans and whites, and it just gotten really accepted, though it was funny when it was about black people. When it was about the black girl and black girls not being pretty, then it was funny. And I didn't think that was funny as a woman. So I was frustrated with that. And then also this black person that I had said this to, this African-American guy that I had said this to, Joe, he had made several comments about the guy that owned the snack shack, that he would slap him like he would slap a bitch. And I didn't like that. But yeah, I didn't go and get him fired for saying that he would slap a man the way he would slap a bitch. I didn't go and say Joseph Correa said this, and it's by the way he was on the Houston Oilers, and I want him fired because I used to see my mother get beat, or I used to know people that got beat, or I've seen people get beat, so I don't want to I don't want to agree with this, I'm just a woman, I don't like it, so I didn't do any of that. I was just like, whatever, like, okay, got noted, but in any case, still you got to work with people, and we were all friends, and so they are the ones who got me fired, but the people, there were like real racism going on. There's like black people who are racist, which I didn't know then, and I was actually under the delusion that racism wasn't even real anymore. I didn't even realize it, and on my memo when it says I got fired, it says that I said that my friend Mijo was a dead nigger. and I never said that word. And when I read it, I was just, oh my gosh, you know, it was like a terrorist threat. Actually, it sounded really bad, and I just signed it, or else I wasn't gonna get my unemployment, and I certainly wasn't gonna get any jobs. And they made very sure of that. People would like let me know that they knew. So what happened is when we all went to the Purple Potato in Hanford, we were with the director of the college, and so it's a San Joaquin Valley College, and so I said, well, actually, you know, there has been stuff that's been going on being said. Because she was like, oh, I'm glad we don't have anything here. And I said, oh, we don't have any problems with it here. And I said, actually, there has been some things that are being said, you know, about certain people, you know, that are black. And then everybody was like, oh, like looking at you. But I'm the kind of person that will bring things up at a whole table. That's who I am. Like, I don't even care why. Someone will bring up my shit at a table, so let's talk about it, you know. And the director said, oh, nope, I don't want to hear. And she actually covered her ears. She said, I don't want to know. And at that point, I knew who she was. She's the same person who, when Les Borges, who was later sued for kicking a student in the balls, grabbed me by the arm and called me a little hussy when I was not a hussy in high school. Just as I was saying hello to my Mormon guy friend, who was a good guy, Justin. And Justin was there. He saw him grab me by my arm, fling me around, call me a slut, a hussy in front of the entire gym class. It was like the gymnasium. Everybody was just kind of hanging out and playing basketball and whatever. And I was walking through, going to the bathroom, my little hippie outfit, my bell bottoms, and my whole arm bruised. And when I called that woman, because she was like supposed to be our person at school to go to, she accused me of lying and saying that there's no way my arm could have bruised already, and that I was making the story up. And so that's that same person way back then. That was my boss at SJVC that fired me for saying nigga. And she told me that there was no difference in the word. But my argument was that there's no difference. My argument was, number one, I was on drugs that my boss gave me. And number two, I was off the clock. And number three, I already brought this situation up to her before. And she didn't want to hear it. And there was real racism going on. And let's talk about the really important thing was that we were supposed to be a staff of 10 people, and there was only 2 of us. And they were not allowing us to eat. They weren't allowing us to take any breaks. I mean, it was a nightmare. And they were forcing us to lie on our timesheets. And if you didn't lie on your timesheets, then they put a blast email out showing everybody that you didn't have a perfect timesheet, but that the people that did have perfect timesheets that were forged will be receiving payday candy bars in their boxes. And I have all these emails printed up. I printed that stuff up as soon as I came out. I can't believe this. Like, you put my name on a list because I didn't lie about my timesheet and you wrote me up. They write you up. If you don't lie about your timesheet, I still have my timesheets. When you didn't lie on your timesheet, they write you up. And 3 write-ups is termination. So when I started getting written up, because I said, I'm not going to lie. My signature means something to me. I'm not going to lie. Kenneth Parcell. And so I said, I'm not going to do it. And they said, well, for every time, you're getting written up. And so I started writing, unable to take break due to understaffing, because they would literally tell you could not eat. And so this is what was going on, and I was getting frustrated because I had developed an eating disorder where I was just shoving food in my mouth, and it took me like 2 months to break myself of this. And I was noticing that I would be in public and I would just be shoving food in my mouth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they did this to me, you know? And I mean, it was just. They wanted and it was just like right before they fired me, right before it was all happened. I remember I said to Jeff King, you know, I said, I don't know. They get everything. They get my life. They get my motherhood. They get my talent. They get everything. I get $150 a day. That doesn't seem right. You know, it just doesn't. And here I'm giving them like my soul in a sense, and my gifts, and they know this. They know well. And so, you know, at this point I was like, wow, I mean, they're like, not only are they not wanting to pay me for what they're taking and getting from me, but they're going to punish me for wanting to be paid. That's weird. And then they fired me because it was going to be my 3rd write-up, which would have meant that they would have had to have fired me for that purpose. With those write-ups, there's no way that they would pass that into the labor board. So that's why I was fired. Instead, I got fired for saying nigger, which is, I never said that word before. I probably said that word 1,000 times when they did that. My neighbors were probably thinking, what the hell is wrong with that chick? She is racist as fuck. Because I was like, nigger, nigger. Like, who says that? But yeah, there are some people who say it. Now I know. But I was not one of those people, and I still am not one of those people. And racism is disgusting, and it's like one of the biggest propagandas ever given to us, and the trickiest, because we don't even know the technology. There's technology behind racism. Did you know that? That there's a technology behind racism? There is. There's a technology behind the colors that we see. So that's something to think about when you think about people's skin color. Are you thinking that someone's less or more because of skin color or something like that? But so that's what happened. I didn't just get fired. Let me just clear that up. I didn't just get fired. I lost my career. I was a college career counselor. I had been working very, very hard to get into that type of position in life, period. I had been a hypnosis dietitian, nutritionist, life coach with Tony, the group that was doing the Tony Robbins for women before that, and then I was a peer counselor all through high school, not with school, through what was called substance abuse ministries. So I was a counselor with that and dysfunctional family groups. So I kind of been working myself into counseling positions, and without college and stuff, with minimal college. And so I got there. I lost everything because I made bad choices. But you know, it was weird circumstances that surrounded it. It was like almost like I felt like I couldn't stop it because I was given drugs. I was off the clock. And it was just, we'll talk about next video, SJVC allowing unstable individuals to take the correctional course to get into the program. I mean, they're fraudulent. I mean, like when someone marks that they were fascinated with fire as a child, that, I mean, let's just say this. If you're going to choose somebody to sneak into the program or choose somebody, why would you choose someone that's fascinated with fire as a child? How could you do that? Why would you choose that person? You know, because what kind of person marks that on a psych exam to get into a police program? You're like, any intelligent person would just fake it and be like, I'm prone to this shit, they'll know I'm crazy. You know what I mean? It has to be a really, really weird person to do that, like not there. So that's actually why I was at the school, was to stop them, because she had been trying to sneak this girl in, and I felt bad. Yeah, I felt bad for her. I felt bad. She was like big, and she had a good heart, and she was like strong female, and she wanted to become a police officer or a correctional officer, and she was really driven to do it. She could not pass that psych exam, and there is a reason for that psych exam. You don't brush it aside after 5 tries of failing it and sneak someone in. That's 5 damn tries too many. And now those people who they sneak in, they have guns knowledge, they have criminal background knowledge, they have everything. So that's really why I got fired. My knowledge about them sneaking people into the correctional program, me complaining about the employee time card fraud, and the fact that real racism was going on, and I was a witness to it. So that's it. That's my story. I got fired for saying nigga. I want my pass, Cat Williams. I want my nigga pass. I will be responsible with it. I promise. I want my pass. I'm not asking Samuel L. Jackson. I'm asking you. So that's my story. I apologize to people everywhere. I want to say that for 6 months straight, every night, I had a nightmare that black people were, I'm trying to explain to them, like, I'm not racist, like, my cousins are black, and, like, I'm part black, but you can't see it, you know, but, it doesn't even have anything to do with that. I would just have, I had a dream that everybody was on a march, like a civil rights march, and I wanted to be on this march, but they were all throwing things at me and spitting on me, and I was, like, crying. Or I had a dream that, that was, like, my family, because I felt like that school was my family. I mean, they trick you into becoming this family so that they can assimilate you. Low battery, so they can assimilate you and control you, and then they take it away from you, just like that. And so I felt like I had been torn out of a family, and so I would dream about trying to sneak in to spend time with people, and I would dream about trying to explain to certain people that I wasn't racist, and just, it was awful. So I dreamt about it like every night. It was a nightmare. It was really sad. Looking back, I was really mad for a long time, and looking back, I'm like, wow, that's really sad, because you know, it's just I don't know how many other people that's happened to, but I don't know if anybody else has been fired for that actually was not a racist, and was fired by black racists. Wasn't fired by a black racist, but the very person, the black person, I say black, and an African American person that was involved was Cambodian and very wealthy, and they were cranberry farmers, and so it wasn't like a brother. You know, it was like a rich black person. Like my white family, when they came to the Americas, were slaves for black people. probably Moors. But that's the Viking, the Jorgensen Viking royal bloodline came over here and was slaves for black people. So don't tell me, you know. So just which was a really nice black family. Don't get me wrong. Very prominent. They were on the cover of the San Francisco Chronicle. I mean, we're talking way, way, way back in the day. Probably the first black people. They were politicians and stuff. So in any case, that's. I don't want to go into it too much, and I'm losing my train of thought because I'm looking at the time and stuff. But for me, it was I lost my entire career. I was a single mother. Not a single mother. I was a displaced housewife. So it was just a struggle for me. But that's when I started my apron business. You know, I saw like randomly TBN popped on my TV. I thought my daughter had been watching it. I don't know. But these women had been making these little prayer box houses that look like their houses. And they said, if you know, get on your knees and pray to God and ask him to give you a talent, to give you an idea so that you can support your family and be a mother too. Because I had been a housewife. And I didn't want to be a man like that. And so I did. And that's when I remembered my apron idea from years and years before. And I started my apron business. And it turned into a bridal business and all this stuff like that. So it has its purposes. And also I did one of my favorite art pieces the day that I got fired, the night that I got fired. That night of the day I got fired, because I couldn't sleep all night and I was upset. And I just drew like picture of the Absinthe Fairy. I just felt connected to it. Take me away, Calgon. So that's it. I just wanted to share that story because I have a really bad rap for that whole thing. I'm not racist at all. Like, to me, Cat Williams, my reverend. That's my church pastor, Cat Williams, Church of Earth. So that's all I have to say. If you have questions, you want to cuss me out, let's hear it.